gratitude can be a buzzword these days. Is this just touchy-feely nonsense or toxic positivity? Or can it be a strategy to strengthen you as a leader and your leadership? Let's explore the science of gratitude, flip it on its head, and see how we can make it simple and helpful for you as a leader and as a human. Today, I want to talk about the science of gratitude and putting it into practice as leaders. I was recently facilitating a staff retreat, and this is an organization that I've worked with over the years, and I'm facilitating their strategic planning process with both their board and their staff. And I was spending a day with the staff for their annual staff retreat. And as part of that, the board joined in via video and wanted to thank the staff for their hard work. And if you've ever done that, had a group of people in a room and a group of people on a screen, it's kind of the worst. I love being in person. I love being virtual. Hybrid, I often find, is the worst of both worlds. But we were doing the best we could with the technology. And the board members who were able to join were really expressing their gratitude to the team, to some individuals, and they were each taking their turn. It was a little awkward. It was kind of messy. It was really repetitive. And it was really powerful. The board chair actually said, after all of these folks have shared, I'm not going to share anything they haven't, but I want to thank you anyway, because I'm reminded often that you can't say thank you enough. And so I want to say thank you one more time. It's a really great moment. And it reminded me about the science of gratitude. I build gratitude into just about everything that I do. I really work at it. I build it into the beginning of workshops. I start every coaching call with 3 things we can be grateful for, both the client and me. I try and start meetings with some version of gratitude or celebrations. We often organize family conversations around what's going well, what's something you're grateful for. And I also, in my meditation practice, I have a piece of my meditation that is really focused on gratitude for all the moments, as many moments as I can over the past 24 hours. I find all of this to be really powerful. I've shared about gratitude and talked about gratitude in many workshops that I lead, and a colleague a couple of years ago said, what's the real science that is behind this? And I had mentioned some of the science behind it, and it was really challenging me to kind of put it all in one place. And so that's a bit of what I want to share with you today. And really, the science of gratitude is that it's not an emotion that comes from within or a circumstance from beyond that we await. We don't sit around waiting to feel grateful or waiting for our circumstances to be something that we can be grateful for. It's actually a practice. The science of gratitude teaches us that it's a practice we do rather than something that we wait for. So I want to talk about the science of gratitude in 3 parts. I want to talk about the science and what it teaches us. I want to talk about how that flips the script on gratitude, and then some practices you can integrate into your life and as a leader. The science of gratitude. This is really about exploring what the research tells us about the impact of gratitude on our biology, on our psychology, our relationships, our leadership, and our lives. The neuroscience tells us that gratitude changes the brain. It changes how our brain is constructed. It changes how our brain is wired. It changes the chemicals in our brain, particularly serotonin. And when we feel grateful and we feel and express gratitude, we get what's sometimes called, what Simon Sinek calls, the leadership chemical of serotonin. And when we have serotonin in our brains, we are happier, healthier, and more effective. Happier maybe makes sense when we're expressing gratitude. It makes sense that we're happier. Healthier, we get fewer colds. They last less long. That's good for all of us. And it makes us more effective. It makes us more effective because it opens up our brains out of the threat response into a thriving response, where we can be better problem solvers, more solution focused, more open to diversity and different perspectives, more creative and innovative, and that is all good for the very real problems and challenges that we face. So that's a bit about the neuroscience. And the psychology research really points us to this difference between threat and survival and gratitude and thriving. It asks us to think about what are we paying attention to? And through our evolution and our biology and our brain wiring, we've really been wired to pay attention to really scary things and really kind of freak out about that through flight or fight or freeze responses. When the tiger was there or the wolf was there, it was really scary and it was life or death. And now we have the news continuously streaming, never ending, reminding us of what isn't going well, what might not go well, what we should be worried about, what we should be prepared for, what has happened, what could happen. And we're inundated constantly with threat. And that's good for the news business because you click on that, you worry about that, you don't want to miss something, you don't want to not be informed, you don't want to not see the wolf if the wolf might be coming. But we can't be in that elevated state all the time. It's not good for our chemistry, it's not good for our cortisol, it's not good for our thinking, it's not good for our problem solving, it's not good for our engagement. And many of us feel overwhelmed or flooded rather than informed and engaged. So what are we paying attention to? And the science of gratitude isn't about pretending everything is great when it's not, or ignoring the real difficulties and challenges we face. Doing so would be toxic positivity and really not a good strategy psychologically. It is about the both and. It is about their very real challenges that we face, and there's some things that are going really well. There's so many challenges that we face in the world around climate change, around systemic oppression, around so many different things. And those things are all real challenges. And in many ways, it is a safer, better time to be alive than ever before. And if you're wondering, well, not for those folks, ask yourself, whatever group you were just thinking of, and you're concerned about, and you're worried about, and you have compassion for, were they better off 50 years ago? Were they better off 100 years ago? Usually not. And that doesn't dismiss the challenges and hardships that folks of color might be facing, or trans folks, or folks with disabilities. And if we look back in time, it was probably harder then, maybe not even recognized or acknowledged in any way. So the shift is not ignoring the challenges and problems we face, recognizing that, and then also recognizing what is going well, what is happening. There's a study from the Wharton School of Business, which is at the University of Pennsylvania. And what they looked at is the impact of gratitude. And here's a few things that they found. It leads to less exhaustion and less cynicism, which is super tempting to fall into. More proactive behaviors, planning ahead, looking ahead, solving problems before they emerge rather than reacting to them. Higher ratings of health and safety in the climate. This is a climate of well-being, and I feel comfortable and I feel safe. I feel cared for, I feel like I matter. Higher job satisfaction, and fewer absences due to illness. So gratitude can lead to all of that. And if you're a leader of any mid-sized to large organization, those things are some of your biggest worries, your biggest frustrations, and they cost you money. And so gratitude can help address some of these things, not all by itself, but in alignment with other things. All right, the second thing I want to talk about is how we flip the script on gratitude. As I mentioned in the opening, gratitude is not an emotion we await, it is a practice. It could even be a leadership strategy. I love the TED Talk by Sean Aker. Sean Aker was a Harvard researcher, and he has one of the best and funniest TEDx talks that I've ever seen. He also wrote the book Happiness Advantage and some other books. But the Happiness Advantage really is about flipping this script on gratitude. The traditional narrative is that once I'm successful, once I've achieved the status and have the right car and the right job and the right family and the right home and all the things, then I will be happy. And once I am happy, then I will be grateful. And Sean, based on his research, says that actually flows in the other way. That gratitude is not an outcome, but it is a key ingredient. That we begin with practicing gratitude. And people who practice gratitude in meetings, in moments, in their day, in their routine, practicing gratitude makes you more happy. And people who are happier are more successful because they're out of threat mode. They're more open to diversity. They're more open to creativity. They're more proactive. They solve problems. They evaluate the team that they're in and their work environment better. All of the things that we've mentioned. It also makes a big difference for those of us who are having the hardest time. So if you're struggling and you feel like people should express more gratitude or kindness to you, here's a great strategy. Find someone to be grateful for. Find something to be grateful for and express it. Because when you're waiting for other people to be kind to you or appreciate you, you're out of control. We also know from the research that if I'm kind to you, that will feel good. But not as good as you being kind to someone else. All right, now I want to talk about how we can practice gratitude and put this into practice. So a few quick suggestions. One, start with celebrations. I'm famous or infamous for this. I start all my meetings, all my coaching calls, family dinners, calls with my mom with celebrations. It's a way of expressing gratitude. What are we grateful for and sharing that? And so starting with celebrations is a really great strategy. You can also do this on your own. You might journal in the morning or at night before bed. You can use WWW, which is what went well. You might try and list 3 things before bed in your journal that went well today, and then write down what made them go well. What are the ingredients to the recipe? That meeting was great. Why was it great? It was great because this and this and this and this. That video I watched of Keith was great. What made it great? Well, it was great because of this, this, and this. And this is a form of appreciative inquiry. Finding something that went really well and then unpacking what contributed to that can be really great. There's lots of learning that can happen from what went well, not just from what didn't go well. You can also write a gratitude letter. Is there someone in your life who you're really appreciative, maybe a teacher or a caregiver or an inspiration? And write a letter of gratitude. You can even send it. Or you can make the phone call and read it to them. There's a great video that I'll put in the resource links that walks through people who did this. It's funny, it's emotional, and it's really powerful about flipping the script and also this practice of a gratitude letter. And I do gratitude in my meditation. I do a 6-part envisioning meditation, and one part of that is gratitude. And I begin with gratitude for this moment, that I'm here, that I'm doing gratitude, that I'm meditating. And then I kind of go back in time over the past 24 hours and see all the things I can to be grateful for. It's amazing how many times in that meditation I remember a thing that I haven't thought about since it happened. I re-remember the sunset. I re-remember that great moment of watching my daughter laugh. I re-remember just the time to think on the drive home from drop-off, right? And there's a bonus here I want to offer, which is the advanced course on gratitude, which is called acknowledgement. And gratitude is when we thank someone for what they've done. Thanks for doing the dishes. Thanks for scheduling that meeting. Thanks for taking care of that. Thanks for reminding me. And that's great, and I encourage it. But acknowledgement is when we thank people for who they are. And this is a strategy I learned in my coach training from CTI, the Coactive Training Institute. That acknowledgement of who people are is very short and brief, and it sounds like this. Thank you for being so thoughtful. That retreat I mentioned, there was someone who was kind of coordinating all the logistics, and I thanked her for making sure the room was right and we had everything we needed and then some, and making sure the food was to meet everyone's needs, and thanks for all the communication and all the things. Thanks for all that you've done. And that's gratitude. And then I used her name. Thank you for being so thoughtful. And my voice cracked with emotion. And she teared up. And it was this beautiful moment of seeing her for how thoughtful she is. And I think there's lots of ways that we can do that. So if you want to move from gratitude to acknowledgement, the formula is the name. Keith, you are so, the thing that they are, not what they've done, the thing that they are, caring, thoughtful, inspiring, committed, dedicated, patient. Keith, you are so the thing that they are, and stop talking. Don't step on it with a whole bunch of words and explanation. It actually undermines the power of it. That's the difference between gratitude and acknowledgement. Gratitude can shift our biology, our perspective, our experience, and our relationships. I'll put the link to all of this in the description. The link has some excellent resources, some of the videos I mentioned, studies, and other things on the science of gratitude. If you'd like more resources on things like this, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter. It comes out every Tuesday morning with my latest thinking about leadership, learning, and equity. There's also a bonus newsletter each month with the best of what I'm learning, contributing, and enjoying. It's all free. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What are the most helpful practices in helping you practice gratitude? Whether those are ones from these tips or something else, leave them in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. And yes, I will read them all. Hey, thank you for watching to the end. I'm so grateful.